But anyway, look, this is a kid right from the get-go. He's coming over from Wisconsin. He's familiar with Billy Edwards Jr. already, even though, Billy did not play, right? But, a quarter and a half, I guess you could say, in their first game. He did try to make his way back a little bit later in the year. I think it was against Maryland, but just wasn't healed enough to make it through that game. But he spent a whole offseason there in Wisconsin with him. And so I think it just says a lot, right, that he would want to also continue to follow Billy here, potentially was a good teammate, right? And then that's what we've heard about Billy, right? He's a leader. He's a good teammate. He works hard. He studies the film. He's a locker room guy. So I like to see that. But also going a little bit deeper here, this receiver, in my opinion, this is your day one starter at the slot. I know that there's a lot of freshmen, and there's coming in that also has a lot of potential to play that position. I only say that because coming to year two under Bill Belichick, he's looking for stability. I feel like, so that's one of the reasons why I say that. And I mean, when given the opportunity and the ball in his hands, he did well. Trevor, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it to you. Give me some further thoughts.
Yeah, not to say this guy is like on that level. I hope he becomes it, but the way that he used him at Wisconsin, I'm interested to see how he used him. But he was kind of like a Deebo Samuel role at Wisconsin, the way they used him, like even getting handoffs out of the backfield. But he's a kid that originally from Hawaii, like Chris said, but he played at Bishop Gorman in Vegas. So that's another powerhouse, football program, big time football program that we've seen a lot of these kids that we're getting. They're coming from big time, high school programs. And the biggest thing with him is 0 drops. So he's reliable. Hopefully he can continue that this year. And he, like you mentioned, Chris, he lined up 148 snaps last year in the slot, 23 out wide. He's more so of like a Swiss Army knife. We had bowling ball for the previous guy, Jackson. I'll say a Swiss Army knife with him because he's a guy that Wisconsin tried to get the ball every way they could. And if you go and just type in Billy Edwards, Wisconsin on Twitter, one of the first clips that show up is him throwing to Trech, and it's where Wisconsin was basically promoting them before the start of the season, like how many touchdowns will this duo have? So they were excited about them and them two working together, and unfortunately Billy got hurt. But I'm very intrigued by this. I think he complements what we already have in this wide receiver room very well. Go ahead,
JJ, what you got for us?
Yeah, I think the Deebo Samuel comp is probably the greatest thing that I've heard this night, just because the stuff that he can do after the catch and the jet sweeps, all the screen passes, it's something that we didn't get to see last year with this team. And I know, Chris, you said earlier you wanted to see him start in the slot and maybe bring up a point. I know we're talking about portal players, but my only concern is I know we have Jordan in the slot, and he's a bigger guy who can play on the outside, but he's definitely like a Swiss Army knife. So it's gonna be really interesting when this training camp comes around where they decide to throw him in at, whether they throw ship outside or whatever happens. But in general, again, yards after catch, like right here, boom, getting upfield, making people miss, something that we haven't seen in a while. I think the last person we've seen really take screens to the house and jet sweeps at UNC was a guy like Daz Newsome, who it's been a while since we've had a really smaller guy who can take these jet sweeps to the house, all these shorter routes coming out of the slot. I think that's something that we've missed and something that we need. I think this is a really good get. And like you said, he's played at a very high level, but when he was at Bishop Gorman, he was probably one of the best pass catchers at Wisconsin. And again, the biggest stat to me is no drops. As a receiver, you're a wide receiver, not a wide dropper. So at the end of the day, as long as you can catch the ball and not drop it, you can be on the field at all times.
It's just like a shooting guard. A shooting guard is supposed to be able to do what?
Shoot the rock.
Shoot the ball. But anyway, that was I was having a conversation with a friend about that. I had to do with UNC basketball. But anyway, JJ, when I mentioned, that's why I love having you on this show, right? You bring that credibility, right? And while I study the game and film and learn as much as I can, you played it at a very high level, right? And Troy also played a little bit of college ball too. And I saw your facial expression when I mentioned, day one slot, and so I was like, uh-oh, JJ's about to burn me. But so I didn't think about that. I didn't think about how they would use him in relation, to Jordan. So that's a good point. I like that a lot.
Absolutely. I just thought about it. I'm not burning you. Both.
No.
It just was like it's that's a whole conversation for another pod. We're talking about the portal guys right now, so we'll stick.
Hey, I got a comment here I wanted to bring up before it got buried. So Tar Heel Tiger for you, JJ. I want you to play for the BC Lions. Are they in the same division or?
Yeah, both on the West.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's sick though. Hey, you never know what kind of connections you're gonna make on the tar pit. That's what I like to see. Right.
Troy, go ahead and round it out to finish it here.
He's a guy that, like Caleb Jackson, man, I start him. I think he's a guy that can contribute immediately. I like his game. I question big play waiting to happen, but definitely a solid safety option. He's a reliable and speedy option in a passing game. I liked the Daz Newsome comp, JJ, and how we used him. I think Wisconsin used him similar to the way we used Nate McCollum, and that was a guy you played with. One of those highlights that he took, I think, an end around to the crib. I saw Nate do the same thing against Pittsburgh. I think it was your junior or senior year, and house one to the crib. But I tell you another comp, Trev, you brought up Deebo Samuel. Go look up Roman Wilson from Michigan. He's a guy won a national championship with him. J.J. McCarthy was their quarterback. But go watch his tape and how Michigan used him. Similar build. I think Trech's got a little bit more size on him than Roman does. But he's a guy that played for the Steelers. And Trech, man, he's a special talent. Be interesting to see where we use him. In the slot or out wide. JJ, you bring up a good point with that with with Jordan operating, both in the slot and we can bounce him out wide. We got another guy that we're bringing in the receiving room that I think is a really solid option on the outside. He plays a lot of outside receiver. So that's a good topic of discussion, one that we can do in our position breakdowns where we go a little bit more in depth on each position group before the season starts. But this is a great pickup, man. I love the Billy Edwards relationship there. If you go back and watch the Billy Edwards mic'd up from Wisconsin, you can definitely tell that those two had a connection from day one when Billy got to Wisconsin. So be interesting to see how we use him in our offense, but I definitely think he is going to be a key contributor this year. And it's good portal pickup.